Snipers, you have to see what's happening to the Bitcoin price this Sunday as we are still inside of the $44,800 and $46,000 range. And the significance of both of these levels is the fact that at 46,000, we have the 200-day moving average, which Bitcoin right now has failed to see any 4-hour candles fully above this level. And that is signifying that it truly is the most important resistance right now for Bitcoin. And then, of course, 44,800, we didn't see any candles come below that support as well, which is why I always say our snipers support and resistance levels on our channel are always extremely important, and they're always in red. And so knowing that we're still inside of this tight range here, and it's Sunday, which means futures markets are going to open later today, we're going to see the new weekly candles for the cryptocurrency market. We could expect some volatility coming here into Monday and Tuesday. And so I want to really emphasize the key scenarios that we could expect here with Bitcoin from the upside and downside, knowing that it's really a split decision right now between the bears and the bulls. And so knowing that 46,000 right now is the most important resistance, if we can start seeing hourly and 4-hour candles get above this level, that's going to be the first hint that there's a potential we're going to come and test this monthly open. And I think this is going to be the decision point for Bitcoin in order to assume whether or not this is a continuation that's going to take us to further lows, or if this is just a push to the downside temporarily before Bitcoin can assume further highs. And so the channel that we're really playing in right now takes us to this monthly open at 47,000. So if we see candles come above 46,000, that's certainly going to be garden variety market behavior. But up until the point that we get above this monthly open where 47,000 sits, and this is pretty much also showing confluence with this structural resistance level that we can kind of just draw out here. And we know that when we see a move to a specific direction, and we can just kind of consider this a channel, from the $49,700 level, when we crashed down to this $44,800 level, we did see a wick down towards the $41,950 level, which I'll talk about soon because this is significant. As you guys know, as I've been saying that, because price action already came below 44,800, we've pretty much cleared the order books here, which is going to matter when it comes to the downside scenario. But now that we're seeing this flag pattern, we can assume that Bitcoin is having a cup of coffee. And traditionally, what would happen is if you're having a flag after a specific move, you will see the move and a continuation of the same direction. And that's where we see the highest probability. But of course, it's Bitcoin. And so if we can see any sort of price action above this extremely important resistance of the monthly open at 47,000, that would be the only way that I would assume that Bitcoin can come back towards 49,700, which at that point we can start talking about what an upside scenario would look like. Now, for the downside scenario, this is where this wick really comes into play. And the wick that we saw that came down, really the candle low here was 42,800. So it was certainly shy of the $41,950 level, but percentage-wise with Bitcoin in the 40,000s, I mean, that was really only a 2% range that we failed to get towards with this $41,950 level, where we know there's going to be some volume. And so because we've pretty much cleared the path here for the most part in this range, if we start to see candles really get below 44,800, there's a reason we have yet to see candles below this level. This volume that has already been cleared out, in my opinion, could certainly put a more intense downside scenario on the table for Bitcoin. And so the intensity to the downside could certainly be a lot more amplified than the upside intensity at this point with where Bitcoin is currently sitting. And so I really want to drill that into this video, because that tells me that if we see this $44,800 level break, 41,950 does not seem to be the destination that I would assume Bitcoin is going to head towards. I would immediately assume 38,000, but because it's so close to this previous structural resistance that really held Bitcoin down since the drop in May, I could expect this to act as a garden variety support level. And so I would assume a little bit more price action down to 36,500 is my area of interest I've been saying, before we can start assuming any further levels of upside if this $44,800 level breaks. So, to just kind of clarify the two scenarios here, I know we kind of went in depth just now. If Bitcoin breaks 44,800, then we can expect 36,500. I know it's a bold statement, but that's what this chart's showing us. If Bitcoin can get above the monthly open at 47,000, then we're potentially going to come to 49,700 and test that level. But I don't expect anything more intense than that for the upside. And so when we're looking at risk to reward here from the current price to where we could potentially go to the upside, is about 8%. But when we look at this to the downside, we're looking at about 20% risk to the downside right now with where Bitcoin's at. So I think that gives you guys a good understanding of what we're going to be watching as futures markets open. And then what we're also going to be monitoring is the strength of altcoins. With Ethereum leading the pack, you can see this does not look good here with this type of price action. This certainly looks like a top, almost like this head and shoulder is forming. And I told you guys 34.54 is the major resistance that Ethereum now has to get above if we want to assume any further upside. And we're not going to really get that confirmation, I think, until Bitcoin can decide to move above 47,000. But if we stay below 47,000, where Bitcoin has its monthly open, and it's not a coincidence, Ethereum's monthly open is also sitting at this important resistance. Bitcoin comes down to 44,800 and starts to see weakness. Ethereum's potential downside is even more amplified here with about 40% potential downside to the next target at 1980. So I think that we want to keep that in mind. In the same way that the order books were cleared, interestingly enough, for Bitcoin down to the $44,800 to $41,950 range, the Ethereum order book cleared out the range that we were playing in when we first crossed back above 3,000 and we held a major support. We can't assume any volume here anymore because it's already cleared out with this wick. And so 44,800 breaks for Bitcoin. There's no volume here above 3,000 for Ethereum. That could certainly bring that more intense downside scenario on the table. And that's why I more likely expect Ethereum to not perform as well as Bitcoin if we see downside in Bitcoin's price. And then that ties in with our dominance opinion that we've had in this channel, where Ethereum to Bitcoin has yet to form further highs from where we peaked out here in May. And so if we come down to 65,000 Satoshis, that's the confirmation that the altcoin season is truly running out of gas for the short term, at least. And that could be potentially because Bitcoin dominance wants to start to rise up and come back towards homeostasis, where it loves to sit here at this 200-week moving average. It's currently sitting around 57% dominance, with our current dominance below the 20-week moving average at 40%, but we've yet to break the May lows. And so that's a significant thing to keep in mind. And if we were to assume that the Bitcoin dominance chart is similar to the DXY, as it really had a lot of correlations in 2018, as you guys know, then we could expect a double bottom here for Bitcoin dominance. And that would coincide with what happened to the DXY so far, where it double bottomed before now being above the 20-week moving average. And like I said, 2018, it showed that the DXY was very correlated to Bitcoin dominance. So this kind of gives us a little bit of an early hint as to where Bitcoin dominance is headed, which is why I've had the opinion that we are in the early stages of a reversal here. And so that's going to be significant because that's going to affect this others dominance chart, which factors in all of the altcoins outside of Ethereum, Bitcoin, and stable coins. It might factor in DAI. I don't know. It might only remove the USDT stablecoin supply, but it still gives you a better picture of the altcoin market since it doesn't factor Ethereum in. And you can see it's a very different chart than Ethereum dominance, which I'll show you in a sec, with this sort of double top. And it makes sense, right? Bitcoin dominance double bottom, altcoins double top. And so, you know, the question is this the lower high? Are we going to see maybe a higher high? I don't expect extreme amount of strength on this chart right now with where Bitcoin dominance is at. So, you know, when anybody says altcoin season is still in its early phases, that means they're basically saying this chart, they're expecting to just continue to rally. And I don't know, the probability of that based on what I'm seeing just doesn't look clear when it comes to the correlations, as we're a 4-dimensional channel, not a 3-dimensional channel. And then as I wanted to show you guys here, Ethereum dominance does look very different than the others dominance. And that's why we're starting to isolate this with sort of this ascending triangle formation. So we'll monitor this, but if this breaks down, then that means that nothing special really happened. Maybe it just looked a little bit different from the others dominance chart. We could still maybe assume this was a double top. You can see we didn't get to form any highs here. That's why Ethereum dominance is actually showing weakness, not strength. And that's not a surprise for those that have been tuned to the Cypress channel. You know, we've been talking about that even despite many analysts saying otherwise. And then we'll cover traditional markets tomorrow, as we always do, and I'll be resetting these previous weekly opens on our charts, as I always do every Sunday. And with that, thank you guys for tuning in today. Have an amazing and blessed Sunday. Happy fun day, right? And with that, thank you all for tuning into the Snipers channel today. I hope you enjoyed today's analysis. Until next time, Snipers